Hello everyone and welcome to PSGL for F1 25. We're here for the first race on PlayStation in PSGL on this new game that everyone's been really enjoying over the past week. I know I have. I am your commentator for today, Ghost, joined by a new commentator to PSGL, Nathan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Ghost. Appreciate the invite, and I'm looking forward to commentary on F1 25 today.
Absolutely, me too. We've got 19 drivers from all across the PlayStation tiers in PSGL, and they are ready and raring to go for their first competitive race in the league since the new game released. It's only been a week, but I'm sure they've had plenty of time to get up to speed with the handling and getting themselves familiar with the track today, which is Spain. What a track this is, Nathan.
Oh, it's a great circuit here in Catalonia. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of these drivers, they'll have been sort of moving over to the F1 25 now, just getting used to it. We've had raving reviews, so they'll all be sort of eager to just get into an actual race now and start competing, get that wheel-to-wheel action going. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of overtakes to delve into this evening.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got Fraser heading through turn 14 now, going towards turn 1, and Nathan, I'll let you take charge. Take us through a lap of Barcelona.
So as he just empties the battery there, going down in towards turn 1, the VCAV driver, just a little bit of traffic in front of him, but just hugs the apex, uses the outside line there as it comes around turn 3, full throttle through here, doesn't even have to let off. And then as we head down towards sector 2 at turn 4, he just goes as close as he can towards the right hand side, using the left just to ease through there, keeping the pace as we dive down in towards turn 5, back onto the throttle early, using the battery ever so slightly as he heads out of the apex and in towards turn 7. Slightly uphill we go now as we go through turn 8 and up towards turn 9 at the start of the DRS straight. We hit the rear wing opens, that little feather of the battery again as the VCAB driver shoots down towards sector 3 at turn 10. Here now is a very tricky part of the circuit. He can easily lose the back end, so he's just got to be a little bit cautious, not go full throttle through there. And then as we come out of turn 12, we can bang it down, pedal to the metal as we go through the final chicane and up towards the line. The VCAB driver just emptying the tank now, rear wing open just as he hits the line, and it's a 1:11.8 for Fraser.
A lovely opening lap there from Fraser, and a lovely opening to your PSGL commentary career there, Nathan.
Thank you, Ghost.
With that lap play-by-play. But yeah, Fraser with an extremely strong opening lap. We were seeing in the Discord, in the paddock, that it would be good for drivers to get into the 111s in this first qualifying in Spain, and Fraser well into the 111s. That's a very strong lap time. We can see Kevin Zunneberg, Chris, Sipala and Leon all well down on that into the 1:12s. Maxi Luca, not a competitive lap time from him. And there's the F3 champion Nico going to P2. Very nicely done from him as he's also into the 1:11s, but still well over a tenth off of Fraser. So it's going to take some beating that lap from the VCARB driver. Hello to Jess. Many others, anyone who's watching, welcome back to PSGL. It is fantastic to be back as Viadec puts himself into P3 as well. There's plenty of other laps going on though. We got even Sorry, go for it.
As you were talking there, Ghost, Jensen was coming round the final chicane and lost it, and then we had Big C just getting a 5-place grid penalty for a collision as the Mercedes driver was on the final corner on the run up to the line and had crashed that Mercedes AMG.
Oh dear, well, there won't be a restart between qualifying and the race, of course. There's no points on offer for this one. It's just for pride and maybe a bit of intimidation factor as well. If you win the opening social race of the year, then it can strike a bit of nervousness into your opponents for whomever tier you get placed in a few weeks or months' time. But Matisse coming through Sector 2 for his next attempt after he did not set a competitive lap time the first time around. Ivan Eskrig as well, very strong driver in PSF3 last season in the Mercedes today, heading through Sector 2. Looking like a strong line through turn 5 there as he heads up towards this very, very tricky chicane. So easy to get a wheel on the curb and lose the entire lap, but Ivan Eskrig getting that pretty much spot on as now he heads down the second DRS straight.
It was beautifully executed there, especially with the a sort of evolution as you come through there, and it is such a tricky part, as you said. And then into Sector 3 as well, as you're coming around that turn 12, it's just so easy to lose the rear end. So the drivers have just got to be fully aware and on the ball at all times and make sure that they just don't push that extra little bit. But he comes to the line, and Ivan Eskrig with a 1:11.7. What a lap time from the Mercedes. That is brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic. 11.7 from the Mercedes driver, and that's only his opening lap, so that does not bode well for the rest of the grid, who's still quite a way back. Fraser the closest, of course, after he's been on pole for the majority of this session so far, but now Ivan Eskrig gets his way to the top, and he's been he was very strong in qualifying last season in PSF3, and he's definitely showing it here. But of course, a new game, new handling model, things can change. You can get a bit of a shake-up of the order as people adapt to the new handling model. But I think a big aspect of this new game of F1 25 in terms of the handling is the added understeer, I would say. The cars feel heavier. I don't know if you've had a chance to drive on the game yet, Nathan, but would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like, as you said, the cars feel a little bit heavier, and as you're going into the corners, you feel like you've got to brake that just extra little bit early as the car just seems to drift a little bit further into the corners. So it definitely needs some improvement, and the drivers will absolutely have to adapt, especially if you're at the top of your game like some of these drivers are, and you sort of used to racing in F1 24, and you're so good at that, it will take some work to get up to scratch so early on here in F1 25.
Yeah, it certainly will. We've just seen Zane come across the line in his Red Bull to go P4. Very strong opening effort from him. Another driver into the 1:11s in this session. His teammate for today, Brian, coming through the final corner as well and to the line. That is nearly into the 1:11s, a 12.007 from the Red Bull driver. Puts in P5. Leon improves to P6 in the meantime in his McLaren. We've got the V-carb of Fraser coming across to retake pole position with an 11.7, just by 1/100th of a second from the Mercedes of Ivan Eskrig. It's very, very close between those two at the moment. We've got Kazizel joining the lobby as well. Hopefully he's got time to get in and set 1 or 2 laps before the end. Even Nye in the Aston Martin coming over the line. P5 for him, just about squeezing into the 1:11s with an 11.998 to his name. But the laps are going to continue coming down as the session goes on, Nathan.
Yeah, and separating them two Red Bulls as well then even. The lap times are obviously going to continue to come down, but Fraser has absolutely set a marker here, and I think Ivan knows that he's got to get that second lap in and just put a bit more work into that Sector 2 section to get just above the V-car. But it's going to be such an extremely close qualifying. You look at the times now, 0.3 of a second separating the top 7. You can make that up in literally one corner. It is just unbelievably close.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, on a track as short as this as well, you'd expect the times to be close, but in PSGL, they're even closer than you might expect. Swifty still struggling to set a lap. He was saying in the Discord that he hasn't had much chance to play the game yet, so it's understandable. Sure, he's using this social race to get used to the game, and I mean, in effect, I know a lot of these drivers will have done plenty of laps on this game already in the last week, but it's very different doing laps and racing against AI to having a proper competitive race against other drivers that are your level. And this, for many of these drivers, this will be their first taste at that in F1 25. So how different is it to drive against opponents of similar caliber like in PSGL than it is compared to just doing laps on your own, especially on this game, Nathan, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And when you're sort of competing against drivers that are your pace and you know you're going to have to go into them sort of squabbles into the chicanes, it makes a huge difference. You're not just on your own. You know you can just bang out them time trial laps. You can sort of race on your own and enjoy it. But here now the competitiveness kicks in. You have to improve. You have to sort of make them, you have to take them risks. And that's what you'll see a lot of the drivers do, as we've seen a couple of the drivers do throughout the especially through sector 2 and the end of sector 3, when they're sort of pushing to the absolute limits and they're losing that car. And you'll see a lot of that this evening with the drivers pushing them cars to the absolute limits of their capabilities. We see some of the drivers coming round now trying to improve with just 7 minutes of this qualifying session remaining. We've got the Alpine of Slash just on his outlap, about to start his flying lap as we ride on board with him, and he's currently in the 1 minute 12.5. he's currently P13, so he'll want to get some improvement in as he goes down towards turn 1, as he just hugs the apex in towards turn 2, and he rides that a lot. He would have lost a little bit of time there, the Alpine, as he comes through turn 3 just flat out here. He's trying to just bring it back with that little bit of battery usage up towards turn 4. Now just hugging the apex once again, using the outside line. He doesn't want to take it too harsh, and then back down slightly into the hairpin at the left-hander. Rides that curb once more to the right-hand side as well. Get the nicest line through there, and you see the drivers a lot using the battery on the exit of the curb and just to sort of reach that speed quicker. And then as we go around turn 8 into 9 and down the DRS straight, and this bit is a very tricky bit, and Ivan Eskrig a 1:11.743. He has improved even more, Ghost.
He absolutely has. What a lap from Ivan Eskrig, and the duel for pole position continues between him and Fraser at the front there. No one else anywhere near them at the moment. Nico and Kevin Zunneberg, who recently got himself into P4, a little way ahead of the drivers behind them, given the gaps between, look at Zane and Brian. It's barely 200ths of a second between 4 drivers, and then Leon makes it 5 drivers to be 300ths of a second. But yeah, it's plenty close further down, but Ivan and Fraser in a different league at the moment. We've got the McLaren of Leon coming through sector 2 at the moment, but was down in the first sector. We'll see where he is at this next sector line. Yeah, still way down, so no improvement for him. What about Big C? Is it a big improvement for Big C? Not quite. 1.5 tenths. He goes up to P13, and well, you know, 1.5 tenths around here is no small feat, but in the context of the session, this doesn't gain him that many places at the moment. A lot of drivers in the pits at the moment. We've got 5 minutes to go, and we'll see them all come out pretty soon for their final runs, Nathan.
We absolutely will, and the drivers, they'll be eager to get that final lap in, but they'll want some space on the track, so they'll wait for that perfect opportunity. I think you'll see a lot of the drivers heading out really sort of all at the similar times. Pretty much the whole grid is into the pit lane. We've got Evan on a lap, and I think, is there a McLaren or is he on an in lap? I think Big C is on an in lap, and I think the Sauber of Tropic is going to be the next driver to the line. So he is on a flying lap. He is currently in P15. So down the DRS straight towards turn 10 at the left-handed hairpin. So he just slams on that brake, and now this is where he's got to feather the throttle out of the corner, using that battery just ever so slightly again around turn 12, and then up towards turn 13. He'll just want to ease off ever so slightly, back onto it, foot down. He just wants to go through here at full throttle, down towards the line. He's used his deployment, rear wing open, and he is up to P13. He does improve by 2.5 tenths.
Yeah, good improvement there from Tropic. We've got the Aston Martin of Even Nye coming through the last few corners now. Is there going to be a big improvement for him? He's coming down towards turn 14. Is it flat through 14? Not quite sure. Most likely it is. These cars very strong in high-speed corners, but Even Nye goes to P5. It is a slight improvement, but it's still incredibly close in that sort of lower top 10 as he clatters over the curb, flies, and gets some airtime there for the stream. So thank you for that, Even Nye. Kazizzle, meanwhile, P10 after joining the session late at the moment. He'll be decently happy with that in his Williams, as there's no one else really on a lap at the moment. Kazizzle not improving. I think he's on an in-lap or a cool-down lap at the very least. But most drivers in the pits right now, I think the first driver to start a lap now is going to be Maxi Luca in the Haas, who's currently a long way down. 1.6 seconds off the pace. So let's see if the Haas driver can make up some time as he hurtles down towards turn 1. Can he get the turn in right? Decently done there from him. Gets on the curb, looked very smooth, but sometimes smooth can mean slow as much as it can mean fast.
It can. So we're still riding on board with Maxi Luca as we go in towards turn 5 and down towards turn 6. Sorry, losing my bearings there, and he's just feathering that down in towards turn 7 and 8, and there he just loses the back end again there for the Haas driver. Such a tricky part, we keep saying it, but it's such a difficult part of this circuit. And we'll see a lot of the drivers. He's half a second up though, Maxi Luca. That will keep him in P17 at the moment. He's going to have an unreal set to free here, Maxi Luca, as he comes around turn 13 and in towards the final corner at turn 14, down towards the start-finish line. He'll empty the tank. I don't know if he's going to find improvement, and he doesn't. Only 3 1,000ths behind Slash.
Very close there for Maxi Luca to gain a position, but he remains in 17th place and actually now demoted to 18th place, as I think that was the Red Bull or the Sauber of Chris. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it was the Red Bull of Zane coming across the line to go up to P6, but it might have been someone else. I did miss that. But Swifty, meanwhile, in the V-Carb, heading through Sector 2, but I think he is backed out of that one, so he's going to remain rooted to the bottom of the standings for now. We've got plenty of others on laps, though, and plenty of others coming to the ends of their final runs. We've got Ivan Eskrig in the Mercedes. I'm going to ride on board with him. No, I'm not, because he's backed out, so there's going to be no improvement for him. Fraser's coming through the final sector right now. He's got just enough time to get across the line for one more attempt. Same for Nico. Brian Emirs goes to P3 in the Red Bull. A very strong final lap from him and from Zviadek in the Alpine. The laps are coming down on these final runs. The driver's really pushing to get every ounce of lap time in this last minute of the session. Kevin Zunneberg also coming through Sector 2 I'm riding on board with right now. Let's see where he is. He is a 10th up, so this could be perhaps second row for the Williams driver. He's coming through the final sector. I'm going to ride on board with him as he heads through the last 2 corners.
The checkered flag has waved now. This is it. All the drivers pushing to their limits as Kevin Zunneberg comes around turn 14 down towards the line. Where's he going to put it for the start of the Spanish Grand Prix? He puts it up to P3 on 1:11.8. We do have an Aston Martin of Christian who's going to be next. He's 2 tenths up as well. Down to the line, goes up to P11. And then the McLaren. And he's going into the pit lane, so it will be the Haas driver of Sapala. Yeah, so just up to P9 there. A lot of the drivers now coming around. The Ferrari of Nico will be next. Here comes the Scuderia in that Scarlet Ferrari around turn 14. Down to the line, Nico. P3 and second row for Nico.
Here comes Fraser, though. He's improving by a fraction, but it could be enough to get him to pole. Ivan Eskrig was 7,000ths up in Sector 2. What can Fraser do to the line? It's enough. 11.6 for him. Can Ivan Eskrig respond? He He was 21 thousandths down in the middle sector. He might have just lost this, but he's got a nice toe from the Haas ahead, but he can't improve enough. He gets 3 thousandths on his previous lap time, but he stays in second place, and that is going to be that. He was the last across the line. Zane is heading into the pit lane, so that is your qualifying session. The first qualifying session for PlayStation in PSGL on F1 25, and it's SCI Fraser who takes the bragging rights in pole position.
He does. Fraser takes pole, Ivan in P2. He got that cheeky little slipstream as well to the line, but just couldn't catch Fraser in that V-carb.
Yeah, he couldn't quite, and, well, he might have got a slipstream down to the line, but that Haas could have actually hurt him, because dirty air in this game has a much more noticeable effect than it has done in a lot of previous F1 games. So I'm sure we'll see that in the race as well. We might not see everyone so close together as we did so often in F1 24 last year, but today we've got Fraser on pole, and we'll see if he can pull away using that dirty air advantage. Ivan Esquig may have been held up by the Haas in that last sector, and then it's Nico and Zunneberg on the second row. Zvidek and Brian Amers in P6, with Chris in P7, and it's Even Nye, Zane and Sipala making up the rest of the top 10. Nathan, who's your pick for the win here?
I mean, it feels like it's a bit of a two-horse race at the front. I'm not counting anybody out, but these guys who are P1 and P2 look like they're going to be scrapping for the whole Grand Prix, and I can't wait to watch it. There's going to be a lot of commotion behind as well, especially going in towards turn 1 here in Barcelona. It's always tricky trying to fit 20 cars in towards that sort of tight right-hander, but I just feel like the front two are going to be able to escape the carnage behind and just sort of go for broke and battle it out for the opening laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating turn 1, I'm sure, and opening lap in general. Big C in the chat saying he's not played the game properly since 2020. Well, to be that close to the pace, and indeed on the pace at all, is quite impressive given that fact. So I'm sure he'll be decently happy with that. But yeah, this sort of gives drivers a chance to match up with their peers, these social races, because it can be difficult. You know, you can get close to someone in time trial, but it's a very different matter to do it in a qualifying session or in the race. So, you know, if you have a particularly bad race today, then you might put a little more effort into finding that pace for the actual season. And conversely, if you do very well today, it will boost your confidence over the next few weeks.
Oh, it's great to have a sort of social race on the run up to the new season, and as you said, it builds that confidence. You get a great result here, it's just going to sort of give you that confidence, get you sort of practicing that little bit extra, that pushing that little bit more for the new season. It's such a great thing to do, to just before the season, to have that little bit of a run in, a little bit of that test, and go racing.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure we're going to get started relatively soon, and we'll start seeing the red lights go out. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the first race on F1 25 in PSGL PS. Fraser gets a great start from pole position, but Nico, fantastic start from P3. Already draws alongside the pole sitter into turn 1, but has to back out as they head into the corner. It's nearly 4 wide further back in the midfield, but somehow they've all gotten away with it. Nico up to P2. Great start for the Ferrari driver, as we've got carnage further back. There's at least 3 drivers off at turn 3, and a virtual safety car is going to mute the action for now. Leon gaining a position as well. Let's have a look and see who's gained some positions there. Leon up 3 positions. We've got Swifty up 5 from his poor qualifying. He'll be happy with that. Jensen and Big C both up 4, but it was Sipala, Tropic and Christian who got caught up at the start there at turn 3. All 3 of them losing a ton of positions, and Kevin Zunneberg with a disastrous start in his Williams as well.
Yeah, and Tropic and Christian both missing front wings, but Can we just go back to that start from Nico in the Ferrari? That was incredible. He got such an amazing launch off the start line. He got Ivan going down in towards turn 1, and then he was V-cab nearly getting on the inside of him in towards turn 1 and turn 2. It was just fantastic from the Scuderia, and when this VSC goes in, he is going to go attack mode.
He absolutely is. The green flags, I'm sure, will be waving relatively soon here. We've still got yellow flags at the moment, but Nico trying to stay as close as he can to Fraser. We've got a 10-second penalty to Jensen as Nico tries to get the jump on Fraser, as the green flags are probably going to start waving any time now. There we go. DRS back enabled, and we're back racing again, but Nico couldn't quite get the jump and remains in P2 for now, does the PS F3 reigning champion. But Fraser still leads. Ivan Eskrig down to P3 as we've got more positions gained for Leon in the McLaren, up another one to P7 now as he tries to challenge the Aston Martin of even Nye possibly into turn 5, but he's going to back out of that one. The tyre smoke into some of these corners is going to be very distracting for the drivers. Kevin Zunneberg losing another position, this time to his teammate Kazizel. Down to P11 goes the man who started in 4th. He'll be disgusted with himself for this opening couple of laps, but DRS open, and he's going to have a chance to sort of get his head back in the game here as Swifty looks to gain another position as well from starting right near the back, but he's forced very wide by Matisse in the Ferrari, who loses the rear, and Swifty's all too happy to take the position back off him at turn 12. Lovely stuff between the two of them, and Swifty up to P12 now. Ivan Eskrig still chasing after the top 2, but it's Nico who's going to try and put Fraser under some pressure into turn 1 here. He's not quite close enough. Maybe Chris is close enough to the back of even Nye. No, it's the other way around. It's the Aston Martin making the move on the Kick Sauber driver, and now Leon Wolf round the outside of turn 3 for the McLaren. It's going to be wheel to wheel down towards the next corner, but Leon's surely got the momentum here as they head around. He'll have the grip around the outside. Can he make the position stick? There's still side by side down to turn 5, and Leon gets ahead into P6, Nathan.
What a move for Leon. He's now up 5 places. Chris will try and get it back, but he's going to have some work to do now because Leon is on a roll in that papaya. He's now back within that group of the top 5. Nico still within half a second with that rear wing open on Fraser. We'll see a lot more overtakes down towards turn 1, but what a fantastic start from Leon. He's up 5 places. Swifty up 6, but as you said, Sapala down 7. Awful start for him. And then when Zunneberg was getting overtaken by his teammate, they had a little bit of a coming together, but I can't wait to see what goes on down towards turn 1 now. Nico with that DRS in the Ferrari, rear wing is open, here he comes to attack the V-carb as Evan sets the fastest lap. Here comes the Ferrari down towards turn 1. Is he going to get him? He's going to be a little bit too late, and he's not able to get the move done, but wow, he's all over the back of that V-carb in front. We have a back marker just in front of them, of the Aston Martin of Christian, so he might help Fraser out by giving him DRS if he's not out of the way soon, but Nico's still chasing him down, and that is all the action at the moment.
Yeah, Evan Nye was struggling there to stay within the 1 second, and you're going to see more of that this year, I think, as with the dirty air being so prominent. It's going to be a lot harder to stick with the car in front, especially on a track like this, through these high-speed corners and medium-speed corners. But Nico's doing a fantastic job at the moment. He's clearly got the pace. That's well wide there for Fraser at turn 9, and Nico's going to be all too happy to gain some more time there. Although Fraser here is going to get some DRS possibly from the back marker of Christian in the Aston Martin. So Nico's not going to be too happy about this. Christian moves out of the way, but it was before the detection point, so that's very sporting from Christian there, as Nico will keep the DRS. But look at how much time he's lost in that final sector, and Ivan Eskrig now trying to put him under pressure down towards turn 1. The Mercedes driver has to yield in the end, but Nico was really struggling there in that last sector under heavy pressure. He seems to have Fraser's number for most of the circuit, but it's that crucial final sector where the VCARB driver seems to gain a small advantage, and it's enough to keep the position.
Nico seems like he's running a bit more speed on the straights. His car sort of he got a really bad exit out of turn 14, and Ivan was just all over him. And as soon as they got the pedal down, he was just gone. The Ferrari was so much quicker down the straight. So it'll be interesting to see that sort of battle. If Fraser is now sort of reeled in a little bit, whether Nico will be able to get him down in towards turn 1 with that extra bit of speed when they're at full throttle going past the pit stops.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, we've got 14 drivers in this DRS train for now. I'm actually surprised. I thought the dirty air would have broken up the field a bit more by now, but PSGL always delivers these kinds of long DRS trains where anything can happen. As Nico comes through the final corner now, he's 4.5 tenths back. He's on the hard tyres, by the way, as Nico, so he's doing an even better job to hold on to the back of Fraser, who started on the mediums. He's not quite close enough to make a move, but I think Nico will be content with just sitting in his DRS for now. The tyre wear also in this game is hugely increased compared to F1 24. You will possibly see some two-stop races on the calendar as when the real season starts. I don't know if today will be a two-stop or not, or whether this is a clear one-stop. But anyway, Nico, starting on the hards, is going to be looking to go longer regardless, possibly, or maybe it's going to be a clean midway pit stop for everyone, who knows. But it's certainly not going to be the same for Brian Amers in the Red Bull. He started on the soft tyres, and he's doing a great job holding on for now. Those softs can't be doing particularly well by this point, because the tyre wear around Spain in particular is even more pronounced than many other tracks. So he's doing a good job at the moment. I wonder whether we'll see him dive into the pits at some point in the next few laps and try and get an undercut. Yeah,
I'm surprised to see the Red Bull on the soft compound tyres. As you said, I think we'll see a lot of two-stoppers this season. Here comes Nico. Is he close enough to make the move this time? No, he's not. But as you said, he's on the hard compound tyres. He will be happy to just sit in behind Fraser on their mediums. And the closer he is, the better it is for him in the long run later down in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. Half a second is the gap at the moment. He nearly hit the back of the V-carb into turn 1. That was very close. But just about managed to avoid disaster there as he holds on. And of course, as the laps tick by, those hards are slowly going to get better, and the mediums are slowly going to get worse relative to each other. So Nico will just be happy to hold on for now, and then as soon as that tyre delta starts swinging in his direction, he will be right on the throttle ready to go for an overtake. But at the moment it still seems to be advantage Fraser through the corners as Kevin Zunneberg gets his first track limits penalty of the day. Probably won't be the last, but because it's a tricky track around here to keep within the white lines at times. But for now, not many penalties across the grid. We're only on lap 7, heading on to lap 8 now as Nico goes very wide at the final corner, and we do have the early stop from Brian that we predicted.
Yeah, getting off them soft compound tyres. This might not be a bad strategy for Brian. Get onto them, get off them softs, get onto a better set of tyres and start just banging out them laps and try and go for that huge undercut on the drivers in front. And you see Evan there just sort of twitching on the verge of losing that 1 second. Christian picking up a 10-second time penalty for ignoring blue flags. But Nico doing a really good job here on them hards, and Fraser on the mediums in front. I think Fraser will start to really struggle in the coming laps, if not this or the next lap on their mediums. As you said, the tyres wear out so much quicker on F1 25, but I must say Fraser's doing a cracking job in sort of harvesting his battery, whereas in Nico is using it a lot more to keep up with the V-carb in front.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a great excuse me, a great job out at the front, but Nico's doing a good job staying with him as well. We've got Jensen retiring from the session though, and that is a full course safety car, which will infuriate Brian Amers in the Red Bull. But I think he's crashed going into the pit lane. It's a classic mistake from the Mercedes driver. I've seen it so many times over the years, that exact error, and that is what's happened there. But we've got another driver losing a part of their front wing there. I'm not sure who that was. Chris retiring in the pit lane. I don't think he crashed. I think he's just retired in the menu, but Zane has stayed out on the hard tyres. And hello to Daka in the chat. Co-commentator the last 2.5 seasons. Great to see you, man. And he says the mediums last a long way around here, so we'll have to keep that in mind, Nathan, as many drivers have strapped on a set of mediums now. I wonder, surely not heading to the end from here. I wouldn't think they'd go that long, but maybe Daka knows better. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not sure the mediums would last that long. I'd be very surprised if they did. But if Daka is saying that the mediums last a pretty long time, because usually the tyres on F125 seem to really just the degradation is huge on most circuits. But as you said, Zane has stayed out on them hards. That could be a great strategy or a really poor one. There's no in between here for Zane in that Red Bull. And Fraser right on his tail now on fresh hards, and Nico on the mediums. So it's sort of vice versa now. Fraser started on the mediums onto the hards, Nico on the hards onto the mediums. Now it was advantage Nico, it's now advantage Fraser in the long run.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Zane is going to be, I think, a bit of a sitting duck to the cars behind. Those hards, I'm sure, will last a long time, but 8 laps, more worn than all the drivers behind. He is going to be really struggling to keep them back, and he might end up breaking up the field quite a bit, actually, because once one driver gets past him, the other driver is going to have to sit behind him for at least a lap or half a lap before they can get past, in theory, and that could well break up the grid if Zane does have a big pace delta to the rest. We've got a few other pit stops happening.
Double stacking.
Indeed, the two Williams, Kazizel and Kevin Zunneberg, both coming in. Maxi Luca coming around the last corner. Could he jump one of the Williams? I'm not sure. I think he will, actually, coming around the final corner now. He might even jump both Williams, as we've got a front wing change, I think, for Kazizel. So yeah, there goes Maxi Luca up to 13th. But yeah, I don't think this will bring Christian into the race. I don't think he is able to unlap himself, so he's just using this as a practice race, which is absolutely fair enough. Fully entitled to do that, and to be honest, most of these drivers are doing exactly that as well, but particularly Christian, being a lap down, is going to be happy to just get some laps in and get more used to the cars and the circuit.
Yeah, I think even a lap down, he'll just be happy that he's in the pack and he's going to get some racing with these guys. So Brian Amers just overtook Leon Rolfe there under the safety car. I'm not sure if he lost the position and then gained it back. And also the two Williams in the pit lane, both getting front wing changes. So it's not been a good day for Williams so far, but they are splitting up both the Haas drivers.
Yeah, Kevin Zunneberg qualifying in 4th place, now down to 16th, 12 places down from the start of this race. Meanwhile, Zane up 8, but of course he is yet to stop, and everyone else has made their pit stop. Whether they'll have to make another is a different question. We've got 23.5 laps left to find that out. Safety car will stay out for one more. I think it should be in at the end of lap 11, I would have thought. And then Zane is going to have a heck of a job on his hands to keep all of those cars behind. We've got Fraser, our pole sitter, of course, with his nearest challenger, Nico, right behind him. Nico's going to be wanting to put the pressure on as well. He's got fresh mediums compared to Fraser's hards, and although that didn't stop Nico holding on in the first stint, I'm sure the Ferrari driver will be hoping to have some kind of advantage on those mediums if he can, and try and build a gap if he does have to stop again. But you know, new game. Yeah, I think if we come back in a few weeks, I'll be much more familiar with all the strategies on most of the tracks. Yeah, but with a new game, we're all guessing a little bit at times.
Yeah, we're all still learning. It's just we forget that the game is literally a week old, and we're still all sort of getting used to everything about it. There's so many little things and little tweaks that they've done, and tyres being one of them. So yeah, still learning, still getting used to it, but we will get there as the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, and we will go racing again.
I have no idea what is happening right now. It's put me into some sort of...
I think maybe safety cars on broadcast. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Safety car coming to the end of its time now. I was worried I had a wrong setting on, but here we go. Safety car coming in, I think. We've got a very static camera, and nope, safety car's staying out one more lap.
Yeah, so it's on broadcast, isn't it? Yeah, so it's going to go round one more and go in. That's fine. The drivers will get some nice tyres ready now.
Goodness me. Okay. We'll see. Hopefully nothing breaks, but everything seems okay for now. We're just getting a lot of transition screens.
There we
here
go.
We go. I've been given control again, I think. Maybe? Have I? There we go.
So,
now I've got
safety car in this lap. Zane will lead the way on them old, hard tyres. Fraser will want to get past him as quick as possible. Nico on the mediums knows he needs to get past Fraser if he wants any chance of this strategy to work. So, Zane gets the safety car restart underway. And here we go for the Red Bull driver. He gets an amazing restart, actually, considering he's on such old, hard compound tyres. Here comes Nico in the Ferrari on the back of the V-cab down towards turn 1. They're both catching Zane in the Red Bull wheel to wheel, go the Haas and the Ferrari, and he goes off the track onto the runoff area. Goes the Ferrari. Nico is down to P3 again, and here comes Ivan in the Mercedes up the inside of turn 4, and the Mercedes is now into the podium places. Nico down to P4.
Oh, Nico is not going to be happy with that. He's definitely going to feel he was forced off there by Fraser. Had to take the Max Verstappen line through turn 2, but he's ended up okay. He has lost the position, but Ivan Eskrig was all too happy to take it, as he's all too happy to take another position here from SCI Fraser through turn 7 and 8. What a move from the Mercedes drive up to second place. Absolutely phenomenal, as Nico looks to take the position from Fraser as well. Around the outside of turn 10, he's going to try and make this work after the disappointment of turn 2. He's got the inside for the next corner and surely will take that position now. He does indeed, gets a snap of oversteer, but it doesn't matter. He stays ahead, and Nico back into P3, but Ivan Eskrig, the big winner there, up to second place, and what an overtake that was, as he now looks to take P1 from Zane. He's using that overtake button. He looks to the inside line of turn 1. He's not got a lot of straight line speed left though. He sends it on the brakes and he gets it done. It's an incredible lap from Ivan Eskrig as he now takes the lead.
That was fantastic by the Mercedes, right through on the Red Bull, inch perfect. Now here comes Nico up the inside of the Red Bull. Zane is starting to be caught. He's done so well to stay where he is, and he has a little snap again, and now here comes Fraser. Whoa. And here comes Evan, and they do collide 3 wide round turn 4. They are locked horns. Here is the V-Cab, and the 2 Red Bulls as well. They're all joining in on the action. And it's the Aston Martin that gets past one of the Red Bulls, even past Zane. And now here comes Zidwek.
Oh my goodness. I think Zane is really regretting his decision to stay out here. He's lost so many positions already. He heads down towards turn 10. He gets fine on the brakes and keeps the position from Viaduct, but it's not enough to save him. He's down to 7th place and he is hemorrhaging positions every single lap here, Zane. He is going to be well down the field in the next few laps. He's got Viaduct right behind. He should still have the DRS from Leon Rolf, but he's not in a good spot right now, is the Red Bull driver. And as we cut back to the front, it's Nico who takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix, and then Brian Amers getting past Fraser as well for P3. Fraser is having a horrible time on those hard tyres. 1.8 seconds is the gap to the top 2, and Ivan and Nico will now look to consolidate their advantage over the rest of the field as we reach nearly the halfway point in this race. Evan Nye as well looking to make a move perhaps on Fraser through the next few corners, but he's going to have to wait for a better opportunity. But that V-Carb, the pole sitter, definitely vulnerable right now, Nathan.
He is very vulnerable. He's now down 3 places and he's absolutely struggling. The front 2 have managed to escape the rest of the DRS train, so they're in sort of the race of their own. Nico leading the Ferrari to the Mercedes of Ivan. Fraser's going to have to hold on. He's nearly a second behind Brian Amers already, and even Nye is all over the back of him in the Aston Martin. He can feel the tension. He knows that Fraser is under that pressure and he's starting to feel the heat, and the 2 drivers out. Huge crash coming through sector 3. 3 as Kevin Zunneberg is out, Matthias is out, and there's a huge pile up.
Big C with a 10-second penalty and no front right end plate as well. That is going to be an unpopular turn of events for the chat there, but Big C into the pits to replace that front wing. A lot of drivers in, including Zane, who stayed out at the previous safety car, so he'll be happy with this second one. He's got a new fresh set of medium tyres that I'm sure he'll look to take to the end from here, and they'll be in much better shape than all the drivers ahead of him. So it's role reversal here for TRT Zane, as once he was the defender a few laps ago, now he is going to be the chaser for all of the drivers ahead. 7 laps old for all of the top 9 tyres, and Zane on fresh mediums. He is going to be hoping to cut his way through the field and perhaps get his way towards the front within a few laps of the safety car coming in. But yeah, Kevin Zunneberg, it was a pretty disastrous race from the get-go for him. He lost so many positions on lap 1, and from then on it was an uphill struggle, but he is now out of this race. Matisse as well involved in that collision. I think it was at turn number 13 or turn 12, I think it was, in sector 3. Yeah, turn 12 at the exit. So perhaps some contact, maybe someone spun and someone else got collected. I'm not sure, but either way, we've only got 15 drivers left.
We have already 5 drivers out of this Grand Prix in the second safety car of the evening. And as you said, Zunneberg will not be happy with this race tonight.
Plenty of drivers in. Here we go. Nico, Ivan, Evan, Zviadek, Brian Amos staying out on those medium tyres, as are Fraser and Leon on their hards. I think Brian is going to find himself in a tricky situation here. He's going to be in the same position as his teammate was at the previous safety car. So a bit of poetry there between the two Red Bulls. Maxi Luca and Slash also staying out, as well as Tropic. And that is going to promote Zane now into P6. So that decision
Zane's on a great strategy.
He is. That decision not to come in at the first in the end, and right now, well, I know the top 5 are probably going to be looking to take their tyres to the end, but Zane is top of the drivers who stopped at this most recent safety car, so he's in a brilliant position here.
Everything has just fell into place for Zane here in Barcelona, and he knows them drivers in front. He's just got to navigate the traffic, stay out of trouble, and I think Zane is on for a really decent race this evening. It's I'm not sure Brian Amos, if I was the Red Bull driver in that position, maybe would have thought about paying. It's sort of a free pit stop under the safety car. The mediums are probably going to struggle to get to the end of the race. I feel like it was a perfect opportunity to get into that into the the pit lane. However, these drivers are the top of the top, and they know exactly what they're doing. So if anybody's to doubt themselves, it's only them.
Safety car is going to be in this lap, so we're not going to get any broadcast shenanigans, thank goodness. Brian Amos is going to lead the way through the last few corners, and we'll see if he can get as good a restart as his teammate did a few laps ago, because it was a fantastic restart from Zane at that previous safety car. When is he going to punch it? He comes to the penultimate corner now. He's waiting a little bit longer, and there he goes, trying to catch Fraser by surprise, but fails. Fraser still right behind him within 3/10, but Leon gets an even better restart in the McLaren, and he's right behind Fraser as they hurtle down towards turn 1, but he's got no straight line speed compared to that V-carb. So Fraser is going to stay in front for now. We've got Zane under pressure from Slash as well, further back, but he withstands that pressure as Maxi Luca gets himself a penalty. According to the top left, we're still under safety car, but I assure you we are not. It is green flags, and Fraser is under heavy pressure from Leon here. Those mediums for Brian Amos still working well for now, it seems. That Sipala makes a move on Tropic, and Tropic loses another position to the Williams of Kazizel at turn 5. Great move there from Kazizel.
Great move from the Williams driver. So TRT Zane has already made up a position under the safety car restart. He was P6. He made a position on the Alpine, already up to P5. So he's making moves. He's going to go for Maxi Luca in the Haas, and he's going to have to be patient here. Doesn't want to make any rash decisions for the Red Bull driver. Nico on Tropics, the Ferrari driver up the inside, and now here comes the McLaren, a Big C up the inside, down in towards turn 12. He's just going to hold it around the outside. Now the Papaya McLaren, and it is the kick Sauber that goes down to P11, and Big C with a big move.
What a great move from Big C. He's up into the top 10 again after the disaster of losing his front end plate just a few laps ago. We've got more overtakes happening as Sipala tries to get past Slash. Kazizel tries to follow him. Zane making a move as well. There's moves happening all over the place into turn 1. Kazizel up to P6. Great stuff from him in his Williams, as Nico as well trying to fight his way through after losing out thanks to that second safety car. Big C looking for another move into turn 4 on Slash, and he gets it done, does he? The Alpine driver doesn't quite have the grip to switch him back on the exit, and Big C up to 9th place. Look at that tyre smoke from the perspective of the driver. That is horrible. But they're all dealing with it nicely, as Brian Amos now leads by 1.6 seconds. He is building a sizable gap in that Red Bull, and well, although his medium tyres might die off towards the end if he does attempt to stay out here, he's giving himself a great chance later into this Grand Prix if he can build as big a gap as possible to these hard tyres behind.
Brian Amos doing exactly what he needs to do at this point in the Grand Prix, and he's just got to be consistent with it now as Fraser comes around turn 14 and tries to catch him. But the two Red Bull drivers are in fantastic positions. Here comes Nico again on Sapala, down the pit straight, and he's up to P7. Goes to Scuderia Ferrari down in towards turn 1, and Nico making moves once more. Here comes Ivan as well on behind the Alpine as we come through turn 2 and 3, and you see the McLaren of Big C just going out wide onto the runoff area ever so slightly as the Alpine driver chases him down up towards turn 4.
Ivan's going to feel very hard done by that second safety car, but he makes the move as Slash goes wide at turn 4, and Ivan's all too happy to take that inside line and take P10. But Nico is flying at the moment in his Ferrari, the F3 champion from leading this race. He's down in 7th place now, but he's still in a decent position. He's got Zane 3 positions up the road, and then Brian Amos, he'll know that those medium tyres on the race leader are not going to last forever, as we've got more positions being made. That's Evan on Zviadek further back for 11th place. But Ivan Eskrig now, his next target, Big C in the McLaren as they head towards turn 13 and then 14 for the home straight. But Ivan losing a bit of time, most likely due to dirty air there, or possibly the hard tyres, and it's now under pressure from the Aston Martin instead of Evan Nye. We've got to cut to the front though. Is Leon close enough? No, he's not. He stays behind, but Evan Nye gets the position done in his Aston Martin, uses that overtake button to full effect, and Ivan Eskrig really struggling from leading this race and in a fantastic position. He's now down to 11th place and doesn't really look like he's going to be able to make much progress here, Nathan.
Ivan's just struggled ever since the safety car restart. He's just not found that rhythm that he was doing. There's a huge collision into turn 5. Maxi Lucas, Ivan's involved, so is Evan. Wow, Zayadek as well. There's yellow flags, but that is the Haas driver of Maxi Luca that is round. Ivan is through on Swifty in the V-cab, and Evan is through on Sapala, who's losing 2 places, who's off the track, and Slash is through as well. Both Alpine drivers make a move, and so does Ivan. There's absolute carnage going on here.
A lot of damage to that Haas of Sipala. I think it might have been a teammate collision there from between Sipala and Maxi Luca, because they both either spun or lost their front wing, and they're now right at the back of the field, both of them. So that'll be an interesting debrief in the Haas garage after this race. But it will be Zviadek now making a move on Evan for P8 in his Alpine, as we try not to dwell on that collision too much. Nico 1.8 seconds behind Kazizel now, thanks to all of that carnage, and he's going to have to push very hard to get into the DRS range of the top 5. 1.9 now as he heads through turn 4. Big C following in as well. We briefly had yellow flags. I think that was Maxi Luca having a half spin.
Going for the move again.
Evan losing a ton of positions in his Aston Martin. Swifty trying to make a move as well on that British Racing Green car. Evan's got damage to his front wing. That explains him going wide. I think damage is a lot more impactful on this game as it was in F1 24. So we'll have to keep that in mind as the year goes on. But Nico now 2 seconds behind the top 5 and struggling. I did not expect this. I thought he'd close them down, but of course the DRS is going to be strong as well down towards turn 1, so it's an uphill struggle for the Ferrari driver. And Brian Amers is in a fantastic position. Both Red Bulls actually in a brilliant position right now. I can easily see this being a 1-2 for them if everything goes their way.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing, Ghost. I think Red Bull are definitely on for a chance of a 1-2. Brian Amers, the Dutchman, is dominating at the moment, and Fraser in the V-cab. There's just no response from him. I'm sure that'll change as we come later on in this Grand Prix, and Fraser on the hard starts to come into the wear of them tyres, and Brian Amers will then start to struggle on the mediums ever so slightly, coming into sort of laps 28 to 33, and that's when we'll see maybe Fraser in the V-cab start to catch up. Leon Rolfe is doing a fantastic job as well in that McLaren, so don't write Leon off just yet. He's done fantastically well to make up 8 positions from P11, and now already he's still attacking Fraser inside that DRS on the rear wing, all over the back of that V-cab as we go down towards turn 10 and 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Fraser's going to be in big trouble here on the straight down towards turn 1. Zane is there as well. Nico gained a couple of tenths on that lap, but it's not really enough to make any dent into the top 5. If Kazizel loses DRS, then that's going to be an opportunity for the Ferrari driver, but Kazizel just about in range still, as Leon with the DRS down towards turn 1, using some of that overtake button, but he's not close enough, and he's going to have to stick behind. It's so hard to stay behind the driver ahead on the exit in the last few corners of sector 3, because they're all medium to high speed corners, and with this dirty air on this new game, it's really hard to stay close enough to make a move into turn 1, and Leon finding that out there, as that is a spin for, I think that's Sipala, it is indeed, in sector 3, and the Haas drivers' day just going from bad to worse there. Although Brian Amers now, I think those medium tyres may be starting to fall away from him, because that gap may be coming down a little bit, down to 1.7. Could have been a small mistake, but I think that is now starting to come down consistently for Fraser. So he's back in this, is the V-carb driver, and those hard tyres are going to be a lot longer lasting than Brian Amers' mediums.
I just want to touch on what you were saying there, Ghost, is when the drivers are coming around turn 14 and down the pitch straight, down towards turn 1. Oh, Brian Amers is into the pits.
Oh, wow.
He's going, he's getting off the mediums.
He's not going to go to the end. He doesn't feel like he can. And Fraser is now going to lead the Spanish Grand Prix, as Leon Rolfe is still in his DRS, but he's not close enough once again to make any sort of move. We've got, I think that's Haas getting out of the way for blue flags, but Brian Amers out on a fresh set of medium tyres, but he is way, way down, and I think regretting his decision to stay out, maybe just testing to see if the mediums would go all the way. Swifty is stopped on the exit of turn 3 with no front wing. Not sure what's happened to the V-carb driver, but regardless, we've got no safety car or anything, so we all carry on as before. Brian Amers gets that position, and he's now 9 seconds back on Slash, and a further 4.5 to the rest of the pack. A lot of work to do in these last 9 laps.
A lot of work from Brian, getting their moves done swifty. Brian Amers, the Dutchman, into P10, but he has got a bit of work to do. But it's not out of the realms of possibilities here with 8 laps to go. And we see the drivers still bunched up at the front. Anybody's race to win here. Fraser's just got to do well to hold on. Leon Rolfe looks so quick. But as I said, I just want to touch on Nico with a 3-second time penalty. That's going to be huge from P5 for the Ferrari driver. He's already 2 seconds behind Kazizel, and now with that 3-second time penalty to play with, it's going to be very difficult to get anything out of this race for the Ferrari driver. But Leon Rolfe, every time he comes out of turn 14, he looks so quick. There goes the Alpine on the McLaren. Big C losing a position, and Brian Amers Also, now up to P9 as Slash in the Alpine pits.
Here comes
So, makes him a free
Ivan. Sorry
position.
to interrupt you, Nathan. Down towards turn 4. He gets the position done on Big C. And the Mercedes driver up to 7th place now on those hard tyres, which will be slowly coming towards him as the safety car is out for the third time in this race. I think that is for the crash of Swifty. I think he's also crashed going into the pit lane, perhaps. Or maybe he's spun it on the exit of the final corner. Either way, it is another safety car, and that is going to really bring the field back together again. And Brian Amers, for not the first time today, is going to be furious at the timing of that safety car. He is going to feel, to quote a certain Spaniard, like he's the unluckiest driver in the world.
He's definitely going to feel unlucky there, goes, because he's had 2 safety cars go against him. He's literally just pitted as well for his strategy. Had he have waited just an extra lap, and this just falls right into the feet of Fraser and Leon Rofer, who were on 17 lap old hard compounds. They can now pit, go into some fresh tyres and go till the end of this Grand Prix. They're going to have pretty much every driver behind going to this pit lane, and Brian Amers is going to fall behind all of them.
He is indeed. So what a turn up it has been here in Spain. Just 6.5 laps left to go in this race, and some of them will be taken by the safety car. Brian Amers is going to get back up to P5, so he hasn't lost out too much thanks to that safety car, as the field did not get bunched up. So he's gone away with it just about. He's still in a good position here. Only 2 lap
The only
old,
problem is with
old.
him, Ghost, is he's on 2 lap old mediums, and then everybody around him is on them fresh softs, apart from his teammate who's a 2 positions in front of him on fresh mediums. So it's just about that balance now, because when the safety car goes in, they're probably going to have 4 or 5 laps of racing to go, and all the drivers around are going to be very speedy.
I would say Brian Amers didn't seem to gain too much on the softs in the first stint. He was just sitting in the DRS. He didn't seem to be fighting the cars around him on better tyres. So perhaps the softs not quite good enough to battle in the first stint, but maybe with lower fuel they'll have a lot larger effect. So Brian Amers could or could not be in some trouble here. We will find out when the safety car comes in. But nonetheless, he'll be relatively pleased at least to still be in the top 5. And both
definitely.
Red Bulls still in a good position right now. But Fraser, what a story he's had in this race. From hero in qualifying to 0 when he got really unlucky with the safety car timings, and his strategy didn't work out for him, and now back to hero again as this safety car's worked out perfectly. He's at the front on fresh soft tyres. He's got Leon behind him, who hasn't really put him under much pressure. He's been close down to turn 1, but he's never looked like making a move. So Fraser is going to feel very good about his chances of winning this race.
Yeah, he is. He's in a phenomenal position for this Grand Prix, and as soon as the safety car goes in, they are going to go racing. I think it's going to be quite an aggressive restart at this stage in the race, especially being the safety car coming out so close to the end of the race. The drivers are going to really want to throw the cars up the inside, and sort of they want to go. They're going to want to go battling. That's the top and bottom of it. We've got that broadcast, I think, again.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's all right. We know what we're doing now. We know how to deal with it. Just wait it out.
Nico with that 3 seconds as well. That's really going to hurt him at the end of this race. Now that they've been bunched up under that safety car, and but 13 drivers left on the grid. We've had a few DNFs, but we've had some absolutely cracking racing as well.
We certainly have, and we're going to get at least 4 more laps, most likely 5 more laps. Actually, no, it will be 4 laps, I think, of green flag racing as we're heading on to lap 29 now. So safety car should be in at the end of this one, and we'll get back underway on lap 30 for 4 racing laps. A shootout to determine the victor of this first race on PlayStation in PSGL on the new game, and who is going to take those bragging rights. Fraser is in a great position right now, but Leon Rolf will be fancying his chances as well. Zane on the medium tyres. He's chosen a different strategy to most others who pitted. We'll see if it works out for him, whether those mediums will be better in the last lap or so. We'll find out, but Kazizel also in a good spot. Fraser, though, is getting very slowly through turn 13, but he goes for it down towards 14. Leon stays with him, but Zane caught out a bit, but comes back through turn 14, so they're all locked together as they were, and Leon Rolf not close enough to make a move. Is anyone else further down the grid? It doesn't look like it. I think it's going to be single file in towards turn 1, although Evan Nye getting a move done on Maxi Luca for P12 further back as he looks to make his way up the grid. He's been unlucky this race as well, has the Aston Martin driver, as Ivan Eskrig as well. He'll be very hungry for positions, as he'll definitely feel like he deserves to be higher than 8th in this race.
Oh, Ivan will want to get something out of this Grand Prix. Ivan now goes through, and so does Nico on Brian Amers. But Brian Amers with the old switcheroo. The Red Bull driver is back through on the Ferrari and up to P5. Nico couldn't hold it in towards turn 7 and 8. Ivan Nye on Tropic as well. The Aston Martin on the Sauber goes into the top 10.
Oh, brilliant racing there through that middle sector. Slash as well making a move on the Kick Sauber driver for P11, but it's still Fraser who leads for now. Again, I assure you we are under green flags, even though you have the safety car and the top left. But Leon Rolf looking to stay at least in the wheel tracks. 3 laps to go in this Spanish Grand Prix. It's been a thrilling race with all sorts of twists and turns. A great way to start off this new game, and Fraser setting the fastest lap as well as he looks to just secure even more bragging rights from this race. Of course, no point for fastest lap anymore though, as Leon Rolf though still sticking with him. Zane there as well on those mediums. Kazizel in the background, and Nico with that 3-second time penalty is going to drop all the way, possibly even out the points, although Slash and Luca also have penalties to their name in these last 3 laps. Who is going to make a move? Who's going to be daring in these last few laps, Nathan?
I just cannot help but feel like Leon Rolf might just pinch it on the line. Fraser's looking so good at the moment. He's doing really well to hold him off. Ivan Nye is just going to make a move on Big C as well in towards turn 9. That was fantastic from the Aston Martin, but as we were saying, Fraser here has got to do an incredible job of defending against the McLaren as we come around turn 12 and 13. Here comes Fraser. Leon Rolf is inside the slipstream, but as we know with that dirty air, he always seems to bounce around behind that V-cab. DRS is now open, and the McLaren has got some good straight line speed as we go down towards turn 1. He might even just wait for the next lap, the final lap, but Zane is all over the back of the front two as well, and the Red Bull wants a piece of the action as the sister car leads.
Fraser's just got to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes on these last couple laps, and he will most likely be able to take the victory, but who knows with Leon right behind him. If he can get a great run out of turn 14, he can use some of that ERS he's got left, but Fraser has more to spend, so Leon Rolf here is going to have to do something special, I think, in this final sector to take this win away from Fraser down to turn 1. We've got more penalties further down the grid. 3 penalties in quick succession. Zviadek, Ivan Eskrig and Slash all getting penalties one after the other. So bad to worse for the Mercedes of Ivan, and Zviadek as well is going to be frustrated with that. It's always frustrating to get a penalty this late.
Leon Rolf is literally pushing Fraser through turn 12 and now down towards turn 14. This is his chance. Fraser has got the battery up, but straight onto it goes Leon Rolf. This is going to be the closest opportunity that the McLaren driver has. The V-cab is holding. Here comes the papaya McLaren. Leon Rolf is going to have to go the long way round. Great defensive driving by Fraser, but has he done enough to hold off Leon Rolf? Round turn 3 we go, and they do touch, but Fraser has held on for the moment.
Evan Nye getting past Ivan as well for P8 further down the field, but Leon, I think that's probably his last opportunity gone unless Fraser makes a mistake on this final lap. Their different lines through turn 4, are fascinating. Leon opting for a more inside line, whereas Fraser goes wide for the better exit, but I wonder if we'll see more of that as the season goes on, or as the year goes on. But Fraser, again, DRS for Leon, but he's just not close enough down to turn 10. I think Fraser, he's just got a few more corners to go to secure this victory. It's been an up and down sort of race for the VCARB driver, but he comes round the last couple of corners as CI Fraser. He has driven a superb race from hero to zero, back to hero again. Fraser wins the Spanish Grand Prix in PSGL. It's a drag race to the line further back between Nico and Zviadek there, but they both lose positions to the penalties. Big C promoted to P7 as a result, but it's Zane who takes the last spot on the podium. Kazizel wasn't able to make any sort of move. He stays P4 with Brian Amers in 5th place. He managed to hold on with those medium tyres. What a race, Nathan. What a way to introduce PSGL to F125.
Wow, what an opening to F125. PSGL has delivered here in Catalonia. What a Grand Prix. The two British drivers, 1-2, and then the Italian sneaks in and takes P3. What a Grand Prix, though, for the Red Bull driver. That was a brilliant drive, but hats off to Fraser. He deserves all the accolades here in Spain because that was a superb drive.
It absolutely was. He will take the bragging rights to start off with. He can always say he won the first PlayStation race in F125 for PSGL. But what a race it was, and what a result. Fantastic
and I'm sure
stuff.
he'll hold that till the end of next season.
He absolutely will. Unfortunately, on my end, I've got a black screen, so I can't run you through the results at the end of that race. But it was a wonderful Grand Prix, a great way to start off this new game, and unpredictable all the way to the end, especially with the safety cars throwing everyone around up and down the field. But some drivers will feel hard done by there. Ivan Eskrig, I think in particular, and Nico as well.
Yeah.
Both of those two looked like contenders for the win early on, but it just didn't work out for them with the safety cars in the end. But Fraser managed to follow through and win a thrilling Spanish Grand Prix, Nathan.
What a Grand Prix, what a race, what an ending. We just did not know which way it was going to go, and that's what we love about Formula One. When you have races like that and you don't know who's going to win, you don't know who's going to be the top three, and it just turns out like that. There's twists, turns, excitement and drama. It all rolls into one to create an absolutely astonishing opening race to F125 here at PSGL.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, and congratulations on your first commentated race in PSGL, Nathan.
Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it, and thank you for all the support. You helped me out a lot.
No problem. It's been great to join you in the box, and thank you all ever so much for watching as well. There'll be a few more social races in PSGL right here on this channel over the next few weeks, so keep an eye out. There's one happening right now. Lobby 2 is happening, being commentated by Daka and Logan, I believe. So go check out the other stream. That just started 15 minutes ago, so they'll be coming to the end of qualifying around about now. So make sure you check that out. But thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to start off PSGL in F125. And until next time, we will see you in a week's time for more social races. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.